things. But knowing that he has a tendency to fade in the second half of big fights, what makes you think he's real serious about taking this challenge with Bernard Hopkins, unless Bernard Hopkins shows some vulnerability?
I think that De La Hoya right now needs to get back on top, and you think it's like a crap shot. I mean, you know, when you gambled, and anybody that gambles out there to know, I don't gamble now, but I've experienced situations where a guy gambled all the way up to $100, but coming in a game with $1,000. You figure to yourself, why walk away with 100, and you know that you lost 900. You take a shot, and bad goes for bad, you lost to a guy that's considered one of the greatest fighters that came around the middleweight division in the last 30 or 40 years. It will be debatable, but I think I have a lot of claims and votes that I can be at least a candidate for that type of title. De La Hoya wants to make history, and what gets De La Hoya back on top is everything is a gamble. You fight a nothing, a nobody, it's a gamble. You fight a superstar, and you fight a guy that nobody wants to fight, and you fight a guy that has been undefeated for so many years. Hey, Bernard Hopkins is human. He can have a good night, he can have a bad night like any other fighter could have. I think the risk and the rewards that come with fighting Bernard Hopkins, if I was De La Hoya, would be, what do I have to lose but everything to gain? On the downside of that is, De La Hoya haven't shown strong, he's been vulnerable after 7 or 8 rounds, maybe in some cases 6. And there's no secret, if I understand that he does this certain thing, certain minutes in the fight, then I would pressure him and make him fight hard early so I can expose that early. And De La Hoya know that he's criticized by fading at the end. But I believe that his trainer and De La Hoya is at the stage of their career that he's fighting in another weight class where he'll be, I believe, more comfortable than sweating down at 54, which I believe is giving him a problem. I believe that if he fights in a weight class that he should be fighting naturally, I think that he will have a little bit more in his gas tank. And who knows? I mean, I think that when fighters get to certain level, I think they believe they're unbeatable, no matter who's in there, whether it's Roy Jones Jr., whether it's Bernard Hopkins, whether it's anybody. I mean, Tyson said he was the baddest man in the land, and Buster Douglas proved that he wasn't that night. It's the same category. No, I'm not Mike Tyson. I don't have a lifestyle like Mike Tyson. I respect Mike Tyson. I believe Mike Tyson is one of the greatest heavyweights that came through as a fighter. But in the same token, who thought that Buster Douglas was going to, do what he did? And we'll see what happens. I mean, when the smoke clear, I believe if you want to become the undisputed middleweight champion in the world, if you want to become, no doubt, erase the Shane Mosley fight, no doubt erase the Trinidad fight, why not for 30+ million take a shot at an old man who's pushing 40 years old and happen to have the undisputed middleweight champion title and happen to have the range of being champion since '95 and being undefeated since 93, which we into 10 years of that particular longevity. I think you take a shot at that legacy. You take a shot at that because you know what that does for your career. Doesn't hurt De La Hoya if he gets knocked out in 20 seconds by Bernard Hopkins, because what people will expect that Hopkins should win, but there are some out there who will think that De La Hoya has a chance also.
It's
I don't think he will have a chance, but whatever. If it happens, it's great for boxing. And De La Hoya always claims that he wants to do things for boxing, especially when he got the bad decision with Shane Mosley. He wants to bring boxing to a level where it should be respected. You know how you respect boxing? You don't duck champions. You don't duck worthy champions. And I told that to Oscar through the internet, through BoxingTalk.com. And I would tell him again, if he holds up to coming to Atlantic City to watch a great great fight card that night. And he might be coming to look at Mayorga. I mean, Mayorga is on the card, so he might be,
Speaking of Mayorga, how do you feel about fighting underneath him?
I don't have no problem fighting underneath Mayorga. Right now, I don't have a problem fighting under anybody at this stage of my career because I understand the big picture. I understand that I'm in Atlantic City. I'm close to Philadelphia. No one is thrilled of flying to Nicaragua to fight to see Mayorga. And majority of people in Atlantic City is going to be there to see Bernard Hopkins, Rockman, Corey Spinks, and Zab Judah from New York. Corey's from St. Louis. So it's definitely our fight. It's definitely an East Coast fight. It's not a Mayorga fight. Mayorga is from Nicaragua. It's an East Coast fight. It's a D.C. fight. It's a Maryland fight. It's a New York fight. It's a Philadelphia fight. So people are coming to see me. I don't have any problem in representing myself for the time slot that I have. Hey, Mayorga fighting Corey Spink fight is boring. It makes my fight the main attraction anyway. You know, so the bottom line is, it puts all of us on the spot to do well. It puts all of us on the spot. And it's one thing about this card, you have to give Don King some credit for thinking about an 8 or 7 fight card, because a part of being the best is trying to outshine anybody else that's in your party. No matter what weight they in, there's 8 title fights and you're a champion, try to outdo everybody else that's on the card. So when they leave, they're not talking about Mayorga. They're not talking about Corey Spinks. They're not talking about Rahman. They're talking about, did you see Bernard Hopkins whip chop his ass? That's what people talks about when they see a good fight on a card that's so big, where you got the luxury of seeing all these championship fights, is who steals the show. It's like a Grammy. It's like a Soul Train Emmy Award. It's like the Essence Awards. It's like entertainment. You got different singers. You got Beyonce. You got Ashanti. You got all these talents on one stage, but at the end of the night, who got the Oscar?